Okay, Cherry Audio have gone and done it again with the Elka-X. It's a remake of the Elka Synthex, which is considerably more expensive than the software. We've got one for 9,600 British pounds, whereas that, if that's in Rome, and here we've got one for 12,000, both reduced from 14. Who on earth has this sort of money? Anyway, you can see the prices have steadily been rising over the past couple of years. Maybe things are dropping a bit more now. Now everybody's absolutely skint, but here we go. Very nice looking machine it is too. So yeah, this is obviously an emulation of it. It's not identical. It's got a few new additional bits and bobs on it. We've got the Cherry Audio effects, including their galactic reverb. That's really nice. We've got a max voices of 16 instead of 8 that we had on the original. We've got a 12 dB filter mode. The original just had the 24. Plus, if you look at some of the knobs, we see we've got a transpose and the tune knob here, just make things easier to dial in those intervals. We can solo the layers. This thing's got double or split mode, so in each of the layers you can solo them so that you can hear exactly what you're doing on each one. Chord memory, 500 odd presets. There's an awful lot in here. There we go, tons of stuff and easy to find your way around. We've also got all the standard Cherry Audio things like focus, so you can zoom in. MIDI keyboard, MIDI learn. I'll go through this in a quick second. In settings, we don't get a different coloured face that you get in lots of them. Not that that's an issue in the slightest. Then we've got the oversampling quality as well. So I'm going to leave it in 1 for this, just because I'm recording the screen as well. Maybe I'll stick it onto 4. This computer should be able to handle it. It's a new Mac Studio, so it's the new M1. So it works on the new M1 Max. And then we've got the help here as well. And that's MIDI stop, MIDI panic. Oh yeah, and of course, we can make it big or small. And this is on a 27-inch, I think it is, monitor. Looks pretty good to me. And it's currently on sale for $39. The list price will be $59 after the initial period. And it's such good value, it's the price of a couple of pizzas, isn't it? I thought you could almost consider it a free synth. And then looking at Cherry Audio's address, there's a Mexican and a pizza place around the corner. So maybe we could just send them, what, $12.95 for a large pizza. So it's like giving the team 3 pizzas as a thank you for making this excellent software. But maybe let's not phone up Plazuelas and order a few plates of nachos for them. They might not appreciate it. Well, maybe they would. Anyway, back to the synth. It's a really sort of standard, I suppose you'd say, DCO 2 oscillator synth. You've got 2 oscillators here. You've got all these octave buttons. It looks really quite cluttered actually when you first see it, but there's just an awful lot of buttons where you'd normally have knobs on synths. So I have gone into the MIDI settings, and if I go to MIDI learn, you'll see what I've done here. Use the keys on my keyboard to select the waveforms, and then I'm using a key step 37 to control some of the knobs. So as I play a note, and I'll just leave my cursor up here to prove as if by magic the parameters are changing. I would have put that on the camera so you could see my hands, but my tripod's just broken. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. But it's a really nice way of being able to access all these buttons, because not a lot of controllers have this many buttons on them, do they? So yeah, 2 oscillators. We've got 2 LFOs. LFO2 is more like a vibrato LFO. LFO1 is assignable to all these different destinations here. We've got 2 routings for those, so it's like having 2 modulation buses. This does actually remind me quite a lot of the OBX. Got 2 envelopes, filter envelope, amplifier envelope, got an arpeggio, chorus, echo and reverb. Really nice effects from Cherry Audio. We can control the upper or the lower panel. We've got some master controls over here, and we've got a little sequencer down on the left hand side. But I think what we'll do to start is just open an initial patch. So go to click on new. It took me a while to find that. I was looking for initial patches in the patches, but no, much easier than anything I've got on any other synth. There we go. And what do we have there? We've got 2 sawtooths. Let's turn one down. Nice and simple. So we've got sawtooth, triangle, a square, and a pulse. And we can modulate that over here with LFO1, so pulse width of 1. Turn the depth up. Change the waveform of that. We can have a bipolar square wave or a unipolar square wave. Probably best listening to that on the oscillator actually, so the oscillator tuning. It's really useful for doing sequence type effects. That's, you know, you're getting an octave, you're not going up and down, you're going just up, if that makes any sense. Let's just show you what I mean. Whereas when it's on bipolar, the root note changes. Then we've got random. I don't think you get random on the original. Anyway, so I'm bouncing all over the place here, but you can see basically we've got, let's just turn this off. You can see basically we've got 1, 2, 3 wave shapes plus PWM. Then we can modulate, this is really nice, we can modulate the pulse width of the oscillators with each other. So it's frequency modulation of the pulse width. So not listening to oscillator 2. Also got ring mod. Nice. Let's try and tune it a bit. And that's obviously changed by the different waveforms that we're using on oscillator 2. But you can't change the level of the ring mod, it's either on or off. Same with the frequency modulation of the pulse width. But you can have them both on at the same time. And that's what made this really unique in its day. These were DCOs, not VCOs, so they're more akin to the Junos than the Jupiters. I've always found with the Cherry Audio stuff that the FM isn't identical to sort of the synths I've got, for example, but I haven't got one of these, so I've no idea if it's identical or not, but it sounds okay, doesn't it? It's doing what you'd expect. So yeah, 2 oscillators, both identical. You can modulate 1 with 2 or 2 with 1. We don't have a separate mixer section, the volumes are in here. Let's just put these back to both the sawtooth. Let's put them so they're playing something similar and just have a listen. Let's take this ring mod off. I'm just going for a big, rich analog synth tone. Sounds nice. Let's get a little bit more complex here. Now there's a tone I've been playing around with on the OB-X and the OB-6, which is a bit like this. Let's just turn everything to what I've been playing with on that. About this, about there. Get in there, let's put it onto the 12 dB. Down a bit. A little bit of LFO in there as well. And now let's do something with the keyboard split modes. So we'll go to double, so we'll play 2 tones at the same time. You can hear the second tone there. Now what I want to do is copy that upper tone to the lower panel or the lower tone. So go to utilities, copy layers, copy upper layer to lower layer. Now they're both playing the same thing, so let's solo the layers. We're editing the upper layer. Let's put this onto the right speaker. And then we're soloing the lower layer. Let's put that onto the left speaker, or the left output. Wow, that's nice, isn't it? Let's detune one of them a little bit, or do something to it, change the filter a bit, add a little bit more LFO, just to make them slightly different. Let's make one a little bit high pitched and a little bit lower pitched, just spread things out a little bit. Sounds nice. Just adjusting those releases there. Cool, let's add the chorus. Nice, and a little bit of this galactic reverb. That's really nice, that, isn't it? Yes, I'm enjoying this a lot. Let's turn that up. So we've done quite a lot already, haven't we? Covered quite a few bases quite quickly. We've looked at LFO1, we've looked at LFO2, we've looked at keyboard modes, but let's do a split mode, shall we? Maybe let's do that in a second. Let's just finish the oscillator section, I suppose, and go to glide and portamento. Let's just take off the reverb and the chorus for a second. Turn the release down just so that we can hear what we're doing. And tell you what, let's just put it back onto single. Okay, we've got glide and we've got portamento. We'll put it on both oscillators for now. Glide's different to portamento. Glide just does a little glide between each note. So a bit like bending the string to get to a note. A little pitch envelope. Portamento, on the other hand, is what you expect. But if we put this onto just one oscillator now, this is a nice little effect. Let's make it longer. Stephen Bodson uses this effect on the Sub 37 on Singularity. It's quite cool. Just put a bit of galactic on and the reverb, and turn the release up. Nice. Okay, let's look at the filter now. Let's go to a new patch. Let's bring up this little bad boy. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? That disappears when I touch the synth. Let's try it with this. Let's turn oscillator 2 down. Turn the resonance up. It gets very resonant, this, so watch your ears and you can hear that we're losing volume with the resonance. Oh, you get some really nice basses from this as well. You can hear that step in there, and I think that's the key step doing that. If you do it on the synth itself, it doesn't. Oh, it's so bassy, that, isn't it? I've made a couple of kick drums using this already. Let's just try one now. Let's turn the oscillators down, resonance up. That's got some depth to it, hasn't it? Just showing you can do it and showing how deep that filter gets. Let's go to the 12 dB. It's a shame that step in there, but it does sound nice. Oh, it's got a lovely tone, that, hasn't it? Really musical. I am holding 2 notes down for anyone who's interested. Just hold 1. And let's take a listen to the band pass. Again, fine, isn't it? It's very nice. So I'm going to use the interface rather than the key step for this. Bandpass 2-pole. A lot smoother. Or gentler, I should say. High pass. Does what you expect. And then we've got envelope invert as well. So we can do stuff like this. Cool, so I think I've covered the filter. Let's just take another little look at the LFOs. So let's modulate the filter with LFO1. And that's an independent depth to what we get with the oscillator tuning and the pulse widths. And we can use the mod wheel to control that. I'm using the mod wheel to do that, by the way. Hey, that tripod broke, never mind. But this is interesting. Here we can adjust the rate of the sequencer with the LFO, so we'll take a look at that in a second. LFO2 is a vibrato LFO essentially. Let's take everything off LFO1, initial amount. That's going to both oscillators. Frequency. Then we've got frequency accelerator, so we'll accelerate to that frequency using the mod wheel. Just turn the filter up so you can hear it better. Again, that's me using the mod wheel to do that. Let's just turn that down. Then we've got 2 other sets of sliders, one's to the oscillator frequency, one's to the filter frequency. So bend. So the bend is the maximum amount your bender will modulate it. So the right hand slider is the bend and the left hand slider is the modulation. So LFO2 amount. Again, using the mod wheel to adjust that. If I put the frequency accelerator up and put that, and then just, it should go from normal-ish to mental. There you go, and let's do the filter as well. And the oscillator, let's just turn the frequency of that down up here. And that can go to either the upper patch, the lower patch, or both. So very much a performance tool, I think that. And again, you can sync it to your DAW. I've not got it in a DAW at the minute, but you can see you've got a sync button. Let's look at the voice modes now. Got poly, with a maximum of up to 16. Let's leave it on 8 for now. Got singles, that's a monosynth. And we've got Unison, with Unison detune. That's cool, isn't it? Be nice if you could pan spread that as well. Got this multi-trigger here. I'll just show you what that does very briefly as well. So you can see on the keyboard here I'm holding the notes down. If I take that off, well, you can't actually hear anything, but let's there you go, you can hear it's not re-triggering that envelope. But oddly, that only seems to work with the decay phase. If I turn the attack up, let's turn it all the way up. So we start at 0, and then we've got a bit of release on there as well. That's doing what you expect. It's not changing the envelope or resetting the envelope when I hit a new note. But when I put multi-trigger on, I was expecting this to go back to 0. And it's not, but if we put it onto a snappier thing, it will take the decay stage or the sustain stage into account. That's definitely re-triggering, and that's not. So, most bizarre that. Maybe that's a quirk of the original synth. But it did take me a while to work out what multi-trigger was doing. Should have just read the manual first, I suppose. Up here we've got the keyboard modes as well, single, double and split, and that split's just where you want to put your keyboard split, I suppose. Well, I suppose that's exactly what it is. So you've got your lower voice, and then I've got the split point at D4, so pretty much exactly as you'd expect, isn't it? Okay, down to the sequencer here, we've got 4 tracks of sequencing. It's really easy to set up a sequence. There we go, let's play that. We can transpose it. You can have it loop or not loop. There you go, it just plays it once. To insert steps and delete steps, all the stuff that you might want to do. So add a step, so let's add 4 steps there. Let's delete them. Really super simple, and you got 4 tracks of that. Let's put something onto track 2. So play it. Put it onto the lower voice, nothing's happening because it's sequence assigned either upper or lower. We're on upper at the minute. Let's put it onto double mode. So that's the lower voice, let's just make it quieter. So you can play over the top of your sequences. And then finally we've got the Arpeggiator. Again, we can sync all this. So there you go, I think I've covered all the main features. Even though it's not a £12,000 vintage synth, it's nice to have these things. Those little unique features that you get on them are really great for little bits of inspiration, and you can understand why people really like the synth in the first place. So there you go, enjoy. The introductory price is just $39. As I say, the price of 3 pizzas from round the corner from their office. And there's a 30-day trial period as well, so you've got absolutely nothing to lose. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, think about subscribing and all the rest of it. Ring the bell, join me on Patreon, check my affiliate links, and I will see you soon.